Did you kill innocent people?
Huh?
Find every collaborator and kill them all.
Who is this? Am I supposed to know who this is? I feel like Sam's performance might be a little ass. Alright y'all, welcome back, and today we're gonna be talking about episode 4 of The Last of Us show on HBO. So after last week's polarizing yet fire episode, surely we get another fire episode to answer that one, right? Nah, not really. But before we get into this, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell to stay up to date with me so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching and I hope you guys enjoyed. And without further ado, let's get it! So yeah, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, this episode was kinda mid in my personal opinion. First off, I'm pissed because there hasn't been a cold open in about 2 weeks. So, no more cold opens? Bruh. Alright, I guess. But yeah, like the majority of like the opening of this show, like the first like 10 to 15 minutes was kind of just like Joel and Ellie either walking around somewhere, driving somewhere, or sleeping. Like why the hell do we have to listen to Joel explain for 5 minutes that gas breaks down and how to siphon gas if they don't really go anywhere?
You could go anywhere.
So where'd you go?
Pretty much nowhere.
We also know they're gonna crash this car later in the episode anyway, so this information seems pretty useless. Now I'm not saying that like the episode was just like them in silence walking around doing all this stuff for 10 to 15 minutes. No, I'm not saying that. You got to see like Joel and Ellie starting to bond.
What did the mermaid wear to her math class? An algebra. I stayed up all night.
No.
Wondering where the sun went.
Me.
No. Put that back. That's not for kids.
How do
Ellie,
you even walk around with that thing?
please
Why are these pages stuck together?
Why are all these pages stuck together?
Joe,
What?
Can I ask you a serious question?
Yeah.
Why did the Scarecrow get an award?
She's stupid.
Because he was outstanding in his field.
You dick! Did you read this?
And this is probably my favorite moment of character development during this little section right here.
There's no way anyone knows we're here, right? No one's gonna find us.
No one's gonna find us.
Okay.
Joel continuing to do like what Bill was talking about in the last episode, how you like need somebody to protect. It was kind of cool seeing this moment in the show. And we also got to learn more about Tommy and his character.
Tommy's what we used to call a joiner. Dreams of becoming a hero. So he enlists in the army right out of high school. Cut to 12 years later, outbreak happens. He convinces me to join a group making their way up to Boston, which I did. Mostly to keep an eye on him, keep him alive. That's where we met Tess.
But eventually they continue on their travels up until the point where they're forced to take a detour. And then we get the infamous ambush scene from the game.
Put your seatbelt on, Ellie.
Well, what about the guy?
He ain't even hurt.
Please help!
Put your seatbelt on.
Are we gonna help him?
No.
He ain't even hurt. Except this time it was kinda goofy. I don't know why, but like the people who ambushed them were kinda acting like AI, which was kinda weird. Like I don't know if that was intentional, like a little nod to the game, but like the way that these people were acting was so like bot-like. It was just weird. But like even in the game, the AI would at least try to flank you. But the motherfuckers in the show shoot at the car for 5 minutes and then wait to get shot. I don't know why, but like this whole action sequence just felt clunky to me. Up until the point where Joel gets jumped and Ellie is forced to use her gun that she yoinked from Bill and Frank's back in the last episode. And for somebody who was so horny to get a gun, she sure takes her sweet time using it. Sometime today, please. She taking her sweet time. So she eventually shoots the dude, but doesn't kill him. And then we get to see a darker side of Joel, which I actually like.
Get back behind the wall.
No, I'm sorry, please. No, please, no, please, please. Mom,
Because in the game, early on at least, you don't really get a good grasp on how dark and fucked up Joel could actually be. Because you're playing as him for a majority of the game, so of course that makes sense. But in the show, I kind of like how they're setting this up early.
Did you kill innocent people?
Huh?
Come on.
And I also like the changes that they made for Ellie's character as well. Because in the game, Ellie smokes a dude without hesitation to save Joel's life, and then Joel's kind of a dick about it.
I'm glad I didn't get my head blown off by a goddamn kid.
How about, hey, Ellie, I know it wasn't easy, but it was either him or me. Thanks for saving my ass. You got anything like that for me, Joel?
We gotta get going.
But then later on, he eventually gives Ellie a gun, which is a big milestone in the game because it shows that Joel is actually starting to trust Ellie. But in the show, Ellie steals a gun, uses it poorly, Joel takes it, but then eventually gives it back to her, which allows for a more human and emotional moment as well as character development, which I like.
When you're just a kid, I know what it's like. First time that you hurt someone like that. And I'm sorry. Show me your grip. Left hand squeezes down on the right.
We also get another hint into Ellie's backstory when she says,
First time that you hurt someone like that.
It wasn't my first time.
and for anyone who's played the DLC, we kind of know where this is going. But anyway, during this episode, we're introduced to a character named Kathleen, who I'm pretty sure wasn't in the game. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't like her. Like, I get what her character is supposed to be, but like, her performance just, it's not it.
This has gone too far.
It has to stop now, you mean? Now that you're in the cell.
They put a gun to my head.
There. Have I satisfied the necessary conditions for you to talk?
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
But essentially, Kathleen is looking for a person named Henry. And for those of you guys who played the game, you guys already know who Henry and Sam are. But she learns about the ambush that Joel and Ellie run into and the people that they killed, and she assumes that Henry is behind the whole thing. So now she's gonna look out for Henry as well as the people who did this ambush, which just so happened to be Joel and Ellie. But like I said, her character wasn't really doing it for me, but she does have a pretty badass moment when she just walks up and smokes a dude without hesitation. And we also get to see Jeffrey Pierce as one of her goons. And for those of you who don't know who Jeffrey Pierce is, he's actually the guy who voiced Tommy in the original Last of Us game. So it's cool to see that they included him in the show somehow. But yeah, I'm not sure how I feel yet about them adapting and expanding on Henry's story, as well as them adding like this Kathleen character and her people. I do like a bit of foreshadowing that they do though.
Fuck! We can deal with this after.
Kathleen.
After. Seal off the building for now.
But yeah, like I said, I'm not so sure how I feel about this whole faction or whatever that's looking for Henry, because on one side, it is cool to see them expand on other factions and other groups of people besides, you know, like the Fireflies and Fedra and stuff like that. But on the other hand, like I said, Kathleen and like her group aren't really doing it for me.
Find every collaborator and kill them all.
Who is this? Am I supposed to know who this is? But I don't know. We'll see how things unfold in the next episode, because I feel like they're kind of building towards something. So I'm gonna wait to see how things unfold later on in the series. But currently, I'm pretty meh on them. But yeah, Joel and Ellie eventually find a place to stay the night, and I do like the interaction that they have before they both fall asleep.
Did you know diarrhea is hereditary?
What?
Yeah. It runs in your genes.
That is so goddamn stupid.
You laughed, motherfucker.
I didn't laugh.
Yes, you did.
But yeah, the episode ends with both Joel and Ellie being woken up at gunpoint by Henry and Sam. And from these last two shots, I'm a little concerned about how they're gonna handle Henry and Sam in the show. Because in the show, they're much younger than they were in the game. Because in the game, Henry was kind of like somebody who was in his late 20s, maybe early 30s, and Sam was around Ellie's age. But in the show, Henry looks to be in his like early 20s, maybe, and Sam kind of looks like a 10-year-old or something like that. And from this shot at the end, I feel like Sam's performance might be a little ass. And I'm concerned that it might suck me out of the show because it might break my immersion because his performance is so bad. Which isn't his fault because, you know, he's a kid. But we'll wait and see, and I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, that was episode 4 of The Last of Us show on HBO. I'm not gonna hold y'all. This was probably the weakest episode by far. It was definitely the shortest. Like I said, Joel and Ellie didn't really do much in this episode. We did get a little bit of character development between Joel and Ellie, and we also got to learn a little bit more about, you know, Tommy and his character, but that was kind of it. The only real action that we got was a pretty clunky gunfight between Joel and the people who were ambushing him. There was no infected in this episode, which I personally don't care about, but the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because people made such a big fuss about last week's episode not having infected in it, and they kind of used that as like a negative for that episode, but I'm not seeing a bunch of people bringing that up about this episode. Matter of fact, I'm not really hearing much about anything on this episode. It was probably the weakest of the bunch. Nobody's review bombing this episode. Nobody's really talking about it on Twitter. Articles aren't being written. Interesting. I wonder why. But yeah, the clunky fight scenes, the new characters / adaptations that they added kind of felt lukewarm. I don't really know. The episode this week wasn't really it, in my personal opinion. Like, I don't even really have a favorite part from this episode. I guess if I had to choose, I would pick the little interaction that Joel and Ellie had at the end of the episode. I just like that little bit of character development and the performance as well in that part of the show. Let me know what your favorite part, if you had one, was down in the comment section below. And also, let me know how you felt about this episode down in the comment section as well. But yeah, I hope that episode 5 is a lot better than episode 4. And I got a feeling from the foreshadowing that we saw in this episode, as well as some previews that I've been seeing in episode 5, I got a feeling that's going to be pretty good. And luckily, we don't have to wait too long because episode 5 is going to be airing tonight instead of on Sunday because they don't want to compete with the Super Bowl. So yeah, luckily we don't have to wait too long for a better episode. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching and I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you want to see more, like this shit. Oh yeah, and one time for the one time, let me get a ear.